Hello. Oh God. And welcome to yet another Kubernetes infra meeting, though this is specific to our AWS infrastructure. It is April 6th. We adhere to the Kubernetes Code of Conduct, which in general means be awesome to each other and don't be a jerk. Have what looks like a very fun but quick agenda. If you have any other agenda items, put them down in open discussion and then we can nerd out about it there. Before anything else, is there anyone on this call who has not been on the call before? Feel free to pop on, introduce yourself, or just, introduce yourself in chat. But do not feel pressure. You could just sit there and lurk and it is perfectly fine. All right. First up, updates on the EKS build cluster. I think that would be Marco.
That's me. Yeah, I left a few updates. So how is it going on? The cluster is working pretty well. We have now a canary cluster, or we have the Terraform infrastructure needed to create it, and we have been successfully creating it, but also destroying it so that we can collect some needed stuff like IAM permissions and stuff like that. Tests seem to be pretty stable in the production cluster. I think that we have 7 canary jobs in total. Most of them are pretty much green. Some of them tend to fail, but that is very rare. I don't consider that as a problem. The issue that we have was also we are now using AMD-based instances, so we switched back because the problem with flakiness that we had before was to the fact how Go handles limits and C groups, and how the Go max procs environment variable and core variable actually works. So yeah, we basically added environment variable for affected jobs, and they're not flaky again. We will be working on some further optimizations, and this is mostly regarding cost optimization, because we are not really happy how much that cluster costs, because AWS forecasts for us that for 20 node clusters that we have right now, we are going to spend $21,000 this month. So we want to a little bit look into this, because this seems wrong. Like, this is not a big cluster, and we are planning on scaling it even more. So yeah, that's a little bit bad. But this is something that we will be focusing before KubeCon, since there is end of this week, holidays and stuff like that. So let's hope we'll be able to finish that part. This is regarding the AKS cluster. Do we have any questions? Arno, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, it's more like not a question, but more like a comment. Like, I don't think we need to care about costs at the moment, because our costs will be really low this year compared to the overall budget. We have a 3 million budget we want to use, and currently we are using, we're not even using 20% of that budget. And right now, what is costing much is blob layer distribution from the container, and that cost gonna be down when we add more region in the future. So I don't want us to be driven by cost optimization right now, because it doesn't really affecting us at the moment. We have a huge budget we can use. Let's use it and see what's happening.
I have opinions on this, but Jiffy, do you want to go first?
Yeah, and hopefully I don't sound like death. I 100% agree with you, Arno, in that we have a budget, we need to use it. But another thing to consider is there is quite a lot of the internal Google spend that we want to try and move over. Once, like the Fastly stuff with dl.k8s.io, we never had to worry about that to reduce GCP spend, but that's still something that as the community, we need to try and get under our umbrella. I bring this up because there's a whole lot of other Google spend that we aren't seeing, but technically we need to consider and try moving over? You're shaking your head. I think, given that right now, like right now being the next 2 weeks, there is Kubernetes release immediately into KubeCon. There's not really much that Marco and co can do with the build cluster. They may as well just optimize it a little bit in the next 2 weeks. Because like what else are they going to do with the build cluster? They can't start moving over jobs. Not before the release, and then KubeCon's just like a non-starter.
I would like to add one thing to this very good point from Jiffy. This time, until after KubeCon, is basically the only time we can break the cluster because there are no jobs on it. There are only canary jobs that we don't care about them. Once we start adding more jobs, then we really need to treat this cluster as production. We can't break it as often. And now we can experiment a little bit to see what can give better results. So yeah, this is the idea so that we see now. And even if we break something, we can easily, it's not going to have bad effects, but that's not the case as with micro jobs. Arno, do you want to add something?
Yeah, what I'm saying is basically, if you want to take basically as an input, Google infrastructure remaining, that's need to be migrated to the common infrastructure, I'm gonna say we are fine because that's not even half of our budget monthly. Because there's a ballpark number running inside Google we need to migrate, and I'm talking about specifically CI, not even artifacts. We will migrate to AWS and we still be fine, and we still be way below the budget. So that's what I'm saying. We should not be driven by cost right now, because assuming we want to run the entire CI on AWS, we're still gonna be fine.
One thing that I will also add that might help a little bit, having talked with like AWS, like Dims's skip level, like Barry Cooks, that dude we were on a meeting with.
Yeah.
It sounds like before the whole holy shit, we need to burn AWS credits like mad, otherwise they will not give them back to us. That is not nearly as urgent as it was like 6 months ago. We have a very good understanding with them. They will, even if we burned like half, we will still get them back. So just this is also for like the group as a whole, but everything sounds like it's not like imperative that we burn 3 million so we can keep 3 million. This isn't like military spending.
Okay.
Any other? Arno, you look like you have so much to say.
Why do you want to trick me? No, I think it's fine. I think that's my concern, and we should not overthink cost of optimization right now. We are basically not in the position of doing that. We should basically spin up things and see what's happening. That's the one thing let's not drive our technical decision based on cost. That's what I'm saying. We should basically be focused and say, okay, we have scalability job we want to run on AWS, we want to move some CI jobs. Let's just focus on that. Just leave the rest for everything.
Do you think it is okay though for the next couple weeks for them? And I'm not even talking about like cost optimizations. I'm talking about like optimizations in general, because this is a holding period for the next 2.5 weeks, right? Like what they can do in the next 2.5 weeks, great. And then again, post release, post test freeze gets lifted, post KubeCon, now we can start moving jobs on there, and that's when that cluster cannot be messed with too much at that point.
You're not gonna like my answer.
Well,
so the one thing we need to do is do an inventory of jobs eligible to migration. because
Yes.
not everyone can be migrated.
Mhm.
And that's like going deep in the test infra repo, see, look at job specification and basically look at all the annotation and see which job are eligible to migration. That's the one thing, because having 7 canary jobs will not reflect the reality on the GCP infrastructure. So we need to add more canary jobs in that period of freeze/QCOM. I'm expecting at least 20 canary jobs in the IKS cluster to basically see how he handled load. But in order to do that, you need to know exactly which job you want to migrate. Let's not do that when 128 is open. You can do that right now. I have a spreadsheet or a markdown of a Golang script that basically do an inventory of all the, of all the job we want to migrate next month. Now we need to basically establish criteria and stuff like that. And I think I think we might hit some scenario when some of those jobs use Bootstrap but cannot be migrated because we enforce a policy and say you should use pod hotels on the AKS cluster. So I think the first thing right now, something not technical and some kind of boring. That's why I'm saying, you are not going to like my answer, is basically do inventory and see which job are eligible to migration.
Need to back up 1 sec. Inventory jobs, that's fine. But you also said you had a spreadsheet of jobs you wanted to migrate?
No, I think we can establish a spreadsheet of jobs we want to
Okay,
migrate.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any starting point, or is it just look and test infra and then Godspeed?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Again, we can add like exception to that overall list. Basically, anything related to KOps is not eligible to migration. Yeah, just in those.
But I mean,
why is that?
I'm happy to make changes to. I think we're currently using the old system. We're happy to make changes to be on the new system, and we'd love to like spin out that. But yes, the current they won't work, right?
Yeah, in the current state, KOps are not eligible to migration. Also, the CAPI jobs are not eligible to migration.
Yeah, why is that, Arnold?
Because they are using credentials. When I say credential, it's basically access key and security, and we want to stop doing that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool. Sounds good.
So that's the one thing. It's like I want to basically throw exception or no exclusion list here and say okay, go look at it and for Godspeed. So okay, let me put that here.
I was just gonna ask if you could write out the tests that are just straight up not going to get migrated.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
Canary jobs. I think canary jobs make sense for stuff like where we do something specific, like run some E2E test or something like that. But do we really want to go with everything for canary jobs? Because I can think of some jobs in a lot of sub projects that are basically stuff like build, lint, run various verification that can be strike migrated, and that is 99% going to work. So do we want to go with canary for everything, or do we want to YOLO, just migrate them and see what's going to happen?
I wanna interject really quick. we're not talking about like cut and paste. We're talking about copy, paste, then eventually delete off of GCP, correct? All right,
Yes.
just making sure that clarification's there. Usually when someone says migrate, it's cut paste.
Okay. I don't have a strong opinion to this, so I'm gonna open the question to the world. What do you think about? Because I want to hear your opinion about this. Like, so we have. I'm gonna rephrase the question for Marco question. So like, some of the pre-summit project we have are just basically doing linked for dependency verification and stuff related like that. Do we want to add canary job to the AKS cluster before we migrate, or just do the migration? I don't have a strong opinion. I would say be safe, add canary, let's running for 1 week or 2 weeks and do the migration, or we can just go right away. I think the question is, are we confident the existing EKS cluster is ready to promote or migrate jobs to that cluster? I will say, if I want to basically rephrase the question in my mind, that's how I want to have this question.
This is kind of related to the point that was up for discussion. Like, it is going to be ready at the point we say, okay, we freeze it, like, let's not do any changes, because it is stable. If you take a look, like, it is working pretty well. And if you say, okay, let's not focus on optimizations for now, which I still kind of disagree, but let's start moving stuff, then yeah, it is stable. I think I didn't notice any problems. The jobs that are running there are pretty solid. Like, other than the optimization changes that we might want to try, I don't see that we have anything else to do on it. Besides eventually promoting Boscos, eventually play a little bit around with monitoring, but that all first can be done on a canary cluster, and then we can promote after we assure the production.
Okay, so let's have a quick conclusion on this. Any pre-summit not targeting the KK repo is eligible to migration without having canary job. Let's proceed that way. Like, anything in GateSig, org, in Gate CSI or Gate client, running as pre-summit, doing something, we can just migrate that without having a canary.
Yeah, I would say go a bit further than that. You should migrate any workload that doesn't care about a cloud vendor. And there's a lot of those.
Not targeted.
Yeah,
That's
even
tricky.
including stuff in the Kubernetes org, right? There's a fair amount of jobs in there that run and don't really need access to Google Cloud or AWS for that matter.
Yeah, that's basically, I think the question is not which job we want to migrate. I think the more question is like, do we want a canary in an EKS cluster before we migrate? Not necessarily. From my opinion, not necessarily.
Yeah, I would say skip canaries for many of them. If you've already got a diverse set of canary jobs, which I hope you did, then I would say start putting pre-summits there after the code freeze.
Yeah.
And if things break, you can just revert it back into the cluster.
Mm.
And I would also argue, since we are, again, copy pasting, the jobs that we copy paste are the canaries. Because like, if those fail, if those start immediately failing or flaking on EKS, but they're fine in GCP, well, then we know that there's a problem with the EKS cluster somehow, and then we have to go debug it. Canaries for some of these jobs just feels like an unnecessary added step when, like, we do have a safety net of, we're not removing the old prog cluster and we're not removing the old jobs first.
Okay. Yeah, I think for this, for this subject, let's not have to be too strong about this. Let's be flexible and see what's happening. My opinion is I think my approach will be really simple. Create summits, not targeting the KK, but we can just migrate them. And the rest, we can figure out things. I will basically leave people handle. Marco, feel free to do whatever you want if you think it's safe. I don't have a strong opinion about this.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify one thing because of something for Jiffy confused a bit, but just to make sure like we are on the same page. Copy paste and then later delete is canary. Like the job that we are going to copy and paste is going to be the canary job, and eventually we are going to delete the old job, for example, or old job and remove the canary suffix from this one and make it work. If we do migration, like we don't have copy paste, we just put that cluster AKS on the existing jobs and then it works on the new cluster. So this is the only clarification that I want to make sure that we are on the same page regarding that.
Thank you for the clarification. Yes.
Okay, yeah, let's see. Let's see about that, and we can probably discuss that ASIC as well. So yeah. Do we have any other questions for AKS cluster, EKS? Okay, and okay, yeah. I will go to the next topic, and this is Boscos. So what's the status of Boscos is that we have some idea about it, how it works, and I think that we are interested pretty well to it, and I want to thank especially Dims and Ben. I think they're not here today, but they did some amazing job explaining to Patrick and me how everything works. Patrick tried to deploy it, but the problem that we have and is that we don't have accounts. And this is the next topic. Do we want to discuss accounts now, or we want to do that in another discussion?
Those are related, so let's have a conversation now.
Okay, so I spoke to Dims, and Dims told me to reach out to Rian to request accounts, and I had some discussions with Rian. But then Rian told me that Dims told him that we need to create accounts via Terraform. We can't do that via AWS directly. And this is where the thing stopped. So I also have some opinions on this. My opinion is that we should probably go and create them as we can, like even if it is manual, and just get Boscos running. When I'm talking about accounts, this is we need one account for Canary cluster, and we need another account for cluster API AWS test. I requested 10 of them, since that is how many accounts we have for main Boscos instance. But we should probably try to get those accounts tested and then eventually see how we can do it with Terraform, especially because at this point we don't have Hippie. Hippie is on vacation until after KubeCon. So I don't really want to block us on accounts if we can work around that and then eventually even replace those accounts, if that is not too bad. So I'm not sure about this. This is my opinion, but I want to bring that up for discussion.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's a lot of back and forth between people, and I was hoping someone else will take care of this except me. So I will create those accounts, not now, but at least we can start with one account. I think that's okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so Mohammed opened a pull request to create accounts. You can check. I can give you an example of how this is created with Terraform. In the meantime, Mohammed, please provide access to the playground account I create for you to Marco and Patrick. You can
I can do that.
that.
So we created a playground account for testing, right? So you could do your initial Boscos testing there. Obviously, I have an IAM user. I'll create one for you, and then you can create one for I believe it's Patrick, right? Yeah. All right. So you can do that for him, but this also ties into another item that has been dragging on for a very long time, and I'm hoping GP has some updates about it.
I do not, and I am so sorry. No, so
yeah. So it's actually
I will give an update on that once we get there.
We will all be in KubeCon, so I think in-person conversation will happen about that subject, and we'll see what's happening from that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I
we
won't
need
be
to.
there. But I'm gonna leave it with GP and Arnold to sort that one out. The ask is quite straightforward, really. I need an Azure AD tenant, and then we can set this up.
Well, I would not say straightforward. I think from a technical,
technically it's straightforward.
it's
The business
straightforward,
bit is
but-
where things get very funny. But that's a GP problem.
Yeah. So
And
I think we need to reset the expectation about this. This might take a long time. For anyone in the call expecting this might take a long time because it's a conversation between enterprises and it's always get complicated. So in the meantime, we have to deal with what we have. And we try to
in the
push forward.
interim, actually, in the interim, if we can use we can use AWS SSO to create users and groups and then deal with it that way. That will solve our problems for a while, I believe.
Yeah, but the problem is you still need to create users.
Yeah, you create users.
Regardless, regardless on how you want to implement this. Assuming you establish assume roles between different accounts, you still need to create users, and that's a little painful if you need to do inter-account interaction.
Yeah,
that's
AWS SSO
real
took care of
problem.
that work for us. Cross-account access
Yeah.
with AWS SSO is very straightforward.
Yeah, I think that's our problem is basically because we need to have permission cross accounts. It's tricky because each individual need to access to those accounts in order to basically
Marco, go ahead.
test. Sorry.
Yeah, but I have to get back to the Boscos topic because do you first want to finish with this topic and we get back, or do you want to get back now?
I think we're done. We're gonna just create the account and provide you access to that for Boscos.
Yeah, but there's one concern about it, because if you give us access to the playground account, we have to be aware that Boscos is going to remove everything in that account because there's a cleanup component and it's going to destroy everything. So I hope that is okay.
That's fine. I'm not doing anything in there right now.
It's a playground account. Expectation about what's happening in the playground account is really low. Like I can wipe out the entire account without notice because it's a playground account.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that's okay. Okay, that's it regarding my topics.
Okay.
The last thing that I will say about the Azure AD thing, the biggest roadblock is actually not getting the SSO stuff, getting funding, getting credits, whatever. It's actually getting an Azure account because the CNCF does not have an Azure account. We have a GCP account, we have AWS account, but I cannot, like me as GFE, just go create an Azure account. That would be bad. So
like, I don't see what's bad about that. Like enterprises do that all the time.
No, there's legal concern and legal implication about doing this.
Me as Jeffrey Sika with my new shiny title cannot sign any legal binding thing on behalf of the CNCF. Literally, there's only 2 people that can. So if I go and create an account, it would just be my account with my credit card. And then when we have to try and migrate all of that stuff over to the official CNCF account, like that ain't good. Sure, some enterprises and companies do that, but like because of the CNCF and the fact that is not just a nonprofit, but it's a software foundation that owns all the trademarks and all the stuff around projects, technically. Legal stuff is like the thing we do not mess with. We're talking, I can go and then sign up for like Todoist or some small thing on behalf of me, and the CNCF would reimburse it. But the minute that I have to sign something and it is for the whole of the foundation, I cannot. I like bleh, bleh, bleh. So it's
I get
very
it.
different.
That's what I'm saying. Expectation need to be really low about this subject because it's complicated. I think it's gets simple because Jiffy showed that full explanation, but we need to reset our expectation about this.
Yeah, once
Okay.
I learned about that, things got sad.
Yeah, don't forget though, like till you resolve that, we're gonna struggle to take AWS usage to the next level.
That's fine. I think as long we know about this, any progress, I prefer small progress than no progress. Yeah, I think
I agree.
it's
Yeah,
about
I'm not saying hold up the project. I'm just saying, as things currently stand, you're gonna struggle to get wider adoption outside the group.
And let me also make it clear, even though probably for the next month, I am not going to really talk about Azure because I just won't have updates. That does not mean there's not emails flying around back and forth trying to get this going. But the other thing is, does the CNC, this is another thing that like you don't even see happening unless you're on the inside. Does the CNCF own this account? Or is it an LF owned account? Is this something that we want LFIT to manage versus the CNCF? My personal opinion, this is something I don't want to manage and I want LF to manage it. Like this is not something that I am excited about having created and then, you know, having to create stuff myself. Like that should be something that I can file a ticket. For all that I'm a tech person, I don't want to have to deal with it. So again, lots of stuff is happening in the background, but I'm not going to have an update for a while. We don't even have an Azure account.
Sounds good. We can check in like H2 or something and see where we're at.
Please, like you can bother me all the time and I will like be honest where things are, but usually when there's not an update, I'm just going to be like
Yeah, I get it. So yeah, let's
Right.
check in on H2 with where we're at.
Sounds good.
all I'm hearing is Jiffy gave up on us. So
What?
that's fine. Yeah, that's all I'm hearing.
Wow.
That's all I'm hearing.
That's cold.
Okay. We don't have a subject. So I will give you back 90 minutes of your time, or anyone else wants that.
Wasn't I the one running this meeting, Arno?
Oh yeah. I apologize.
I'm just being a smart aleck.
Oh, I forgot something.
Shoot.
Patrick was supposed to work on Atlantis automation. Did he manage to sort that one out, or is that still in progress somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, I can give some updates. So basically, I was playing out with it. I even have some draft of proposal somewhere, but I waited till the whole registry thing is over so that more people could look at it. So yeah, I mean, if you are interested, I can share this on the channel. But yeah, I mean, I have some concerns, mainly the security concerns, as the project is really nice, but it's not meant for public repos. I mean, it is possible, but first I would rather like clean up our Terraform structure and so on. But I mean, I can share the doc and we can discuss if that's what we want. But yeah, thanks for reminding.
All right, sounds good. Open a PR and bring the doc along, and then we can talk about it. I am interested in seeing what it looks like because I want to adopt it for another CNCF project. And Arnaud gets to do less manual work on his computer, so we can get changes shipped out quicker.
I know your hand's raised.
Just to be clear, priority to Boscos and Prow.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's basically, I mean, we need to make sure we are in a position where we fully use AWS as part of Prow, as part of the test infrastructure before we even think about optimizing Terraform execution.
Ooh, actually, this spurred another agenda item on the top that I wanted to bring up. Does everyone remember or vaguely know of that shiny, interesting timeline that got shared around? That was from the CNCF. We are rewriting that, and it will be a lot more reflective of A, what we've done, and B, in general, what the community and whatnot is focused on doing. I will distribute that once we have a new version. I'm just letting you know that I'm distilling all of the conversations that we have been having and trying to make a more realistic timeline than what was originally distributed back in like January.
Okay.
Anything else?
I think one of the good things is we are, as I don't know if anyone's mentioned this, we are on track now to go well under budget. So we are not on fire anymore. So it's okay. Yes.
I believe the estimate was $2.4 to $2.5 million this year, and if it was the start of a year, we would be around 2.
It may even be a smidge lower, but yes, that's ballpark.
I invite everyone to check page 2 of the public billing report. You will see the delta between. I cannot share that right now. If you want to share or whatever anyone want to share, but I invite everyone to basically check page 2 of the GCP report, and you will see basically what Justin talked about.
Yay. Okay. Is there anything else? Going once, going twice. 15 minutes back. Thank you, everybody.
Later.
Bye.